Hi, this is Bob Sorrentino from Italian Roots and Genealogy, and I'm here with a dear old friend from grammar school, Antonia Sperano, who's been living in Italy now for the last 18 months. So, welcome, Tony. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Bob. This has been a really good opportunity to um, talk about my life here, which 18 months is a pretty long time. I never thought that I would be here that long because initially it was only supposed to be a 3-month trip. And then my citizenship came through, so I ended up staying longer. But it's been a long and interesting process.
What are the biggest differences between living in the States and living in Italy?
Sanity. No. Uh, I think, well, I live in the South. I'm just at the very end of the Amalfi Drive. So I'm on the water. Well, I'm not on the water, but we have a beautiful bay. It's very similar to Santa Monica. And we've got these beautiful hills surrounding the bay. And it's a sweet little town. And uh, and I liked it very much initially. And I arrived here in March and it was extremely cold and windy and rainy. And I was coming directly from Los Angeles, which has perfect weather year round. So this was physically so different for me. So I guess that would be one of the main differences. Although that was on my list of things that I wanted. I wanted precipitation because I got tired of the weather in Los Angeles, believe it or not. So anyway, um, as I, on a daily basis, I would start thinking, why is the air so dirty? Why, why are these motorcycles so loud? Why everything, it was like an assault on my senses. Everything was amplified. The smells in the bakery. Oh, the food smells coming from everywhere. I never smelled any of these things because I was always in my car bubble. So, in Los Angeles, you go in your car, you go to the market, everything is sanitized, you don't smell anything. And here it's heavenly and like hell at the same time. So it was those sensory moments for me that were the big difference. The weather, bundling up with clothes. No one else bundled up like I did. I was layered beyond. I mean, I was so layered. I could barely move. It was like first grade all over again.
So let me ask you a question about that, because in England, when we lived in England for 2 years, one of the things that I found the most amusing, talking about clothes, is that it didn't matter what the temperature was on that day. If it was the day before spring, they were still in winter, so they had, sweaters and coats and jackets on. And then spring came along and they were wearing short pants and t-shirts. It could have been the same temperature.
Yeah, here it's kind of the reverse. Well, almost. You only know when winter has ended or it's begun when they start wearing their little puffy jackets here. And they're everywhere. If you look down this Corso, it's a pedestrian only Corso. If you look down it at any time during the alleged winter, it looks like a quilted blanket moving along. There is every color, every shape, every length, every width, male, female, babies. I've seen a couple on dogs. They're everywhere. And it's funny. So that's how we mark the beginning and the end of winter is with the puffy jacket or coat. There are two different kinds. They don't really ride motorcycles here. They ride those motorinis. So they're like a step up from a Vespa, with the bigger motor, but you're not like leaning forward like, in a race. And these, most of them are guys delivering pizza. And those are the cheapest version of these step up from a Vespa. And they have they use the worst oil, so it emits like terrible, terrible air pollution and the noise. So even if you have these windows that are noise proof, I don't have them, but I happen to be in a quiet area. You can hear these motorinis at 1 in the morning. I don't know where they're going, but maybe the restaurant just closed. Who knows? So there's that. And then there are all the uneven surfaces. And for the longest time, even actually up until now, I don't look up when I walk because I'm afraid I'm going to trip. So this is I just don't look up. Also, many people walk their dogs here, and there are a lot of them, and they don't tidy up. So I have to be careful. And other people seem to walk around no problem. I don't know, maybe there's a way that I haven't learned, an Italian way to walk. But I just look down because cobblestones, broken sidewalks, things just don't get repaired as quickly as I'm told they do in the north. Um, Cigarettes, everyone's smoking cigarettes. That's a big difference. Um, and then they get stuck in the cobblestone. So it becomes like an abstract design. You know, you think you're looking at cobblestones, but then you really see the cigarette butts. Um, so there's that. And then, of course, all the great food smells. That's a good thing. And then looking a little further into it, customer service here, I don't think anyone's ever gone to a training program for customer service. They just, maybe in the north it's different. I mean, I'm told everything in the south is very different because the budget, they don't have money to do anything. So if you try to return something, they look at you, well, they looked at me with such hostility. And I said, but it's the wrong size. Can't I just exchange the right size? Oh, no, no, no. I said, but the tag is still on the, trying in my best, most formal, impressive Italian, which I guess is still not good enough. Speaking of stores, we don't have like all the great stores. Okay, so well, there are several of what they call, if you need something, go to the Chinese, which I hate that because they're not all Chinese. Some of them are Filipino, but these Chinese stores, they have a little bit of everything. So that saved me because I don't know where else to go. There's no Target here, there's no Marshalls, there's no, none of those kinds of stores. No big hardware stores. So you sort of have to know who, it's all word of mouth. Um, one of the funnier things about the stores here, they in the in the older and the newer parts of town, they have these double doors that close. But what you don't know is that if you go to these stores during the day, the doors are open, there are signs on the doors, there's merchandise on them, and then at different times during the day, they'll close. And then if you happen to go at night and you're looking for that store again, you can't find it because once they close the doors, there's no signage because it probably costs too much money. So I used to find myself walking around, where am I? I know it's right here. And I used to think I was really like losing it because I thought, I know the store was right here. Okay, so that's like another thing to get used to. And then, of course, there's the midday break. Not everybody takes it, but that's something else to get used to. It's major. Um, you can't get anything done in the middle of the day. So just give it up. But they do tend to close between 1 and 5 or 1 and 4. So my little Filipino store that I go to, I call them my little Amazon because they have everything I need. Well, almost everything. They close on the dot, 1 o'clock, and then they reopen at 4. So, and then there's this other store, a chain called Aqua Sapone, which does not sell water, which is the aqua part of the store name. They only sell soap things and cleaning, tons of cleaning product stores. They clean the insides of these apartments. And now I know where that comes from with my mother. Eat off the floor, Mary. Uh, they just every store has detergents and cleaning things and utensils, and it's amazing.
I know they take the break. Are stores open on Sundays like they are here, or are they still back when nothing's open on Sunday?
Well, in the South, again, there's a huge difference. I mean, I chose this city, but I was still in denial. I'm thinking, well, they're not going to close now. It's 2019. Who closes a store? Why wouldn't you want to continue to make more money in the middle of the day when the people are out, like me, looking to spend some money because there's nothing else to do? Go shopping. So they do this, and it's on Sundays. The food markets, which of course they're critical, so they stay open mostly till 1 o'clock, um, and then they shut down. And it's rare to see a store open. Some of the during tourist season, there is some of the chain stores that are open on Sundays on this main corso, the pedestrian street, um, which is nice. Uh, just to go for a little retail therapy.
So I know you're in Salerno. So how did you choose Salerno, and why? And um, what is it like trying to find a place to live?
Okay, I started my plan to move to Europe first, and then specifically Italy, because my heart has always been here. So I started about, I guess now it's about 3 years ago, and I made a list of of things that I wanted. I had my must-have list and then the lower stuff on the list. And what I came up with was the opposite of California. It was the opposite of the United States. I wanted a smaller, I wanted, number one, I wanted a community. I wanted a smaller country. I wanted a European country. I wanted to be able to use my Italian because I've only been studying on and off my whole life and I'm still not fluent. But uh, I wanted um, what I thought was going to be similar weather because I went on a globe and I looked at Los Angeles and then I went across the latitude. I said, oh, yeah, I could live here. Uh, Not the way to do it. But I did check the almanac and I thought, okay, well, I want precipitation. I want some change of seasons. What I didn't look up was the humidity. There's humidity almost year round, but like paralyzing humidity in the summertime. Like you cannot breathe. It's like New York, New York when we were growing up. Okay, so I did want a change of seasons. I wanted friendly people. I wanted to shop in little bitty stores. I wanted to go to the bread store. I wanted to go to the fish market. I wanted to do all those things that I used to see on the foreign movies that I saw, with the plastic bags. And except I wasn't an old bow-legged lady with a shopping cart. I did break down and bought a shopping cart, though I have to say, um, because carrying all those bags, it's really heavy. So it's not very romantic while, you're breaking your back trying to bring your meat home. And then I was drinking from bottles of water, buying those big bottles. And and in LA, I used to have a Brita filter, and I didn't see them here. And I I was having trouble opening up my Amazon account, so I sort of couldn't buy anything on Amazon, which was okay. That's kind of dangerous anyway. But so I was buying bottles of water, and my arms, everything was hurting. And I thought, okay, you've got to figure out a way to deal with this. So I eventually accidentally found a Brita system here with the filters that you put in. So, okay. So I wanted to do that shopping thing. I wanted to have a little bit of a cafe life, sip coffee, not smoke cigarettes, but, you know, and and say ciao to people. I had this vision of what I wanted. My friends would walk by and, so I have had everything. And there are many other things that I wanted. I wanted to be able to travel within Europe. Um, I wanted to see my relatives more. I have cousins on both sides of my family. But of course, now with COVID, I haven't been able to go see anyone. But uh, my father's side is about an hour away, and my mom's side is up in the hills of Abruzzo. And I haven't been there for a long time, but it's really sweet. It's a beautiful place. So I had my list, and then I'm still taking my Italian classes in LA, and then I see uh, this brochure that was on the bulletin board of the school, and there was a school in Salerno to learn Italian. And so I went into the director and I said, "Oh, what do you know about this place? Maybe I'll go there for vacation or make another trip to check out yet another place that maybe I could live in." So she said, "Oh yeah, we that's our sister school and we have a scholarship program and blah blah blah." Well, I got a scholarship, and not because my Italian was so good. Actually, I don't know why I got a scholarship, but I got one for a couple of weeks. So I'm now planning this trip to Italy while I'm still, quasi thinking about where I want to live, not making a commitment anywhere. So it's coming closer and closer to this trip that I planned. And the closer I got, the more I was thinking, it was about a year before. And I was thinking, why don't I just move there already? Just do it. Just do it. And things were happening in my life that were pushing me to leave my job, my apartment. Situations with my friends were changing. They were retiring, moving away, passing away, and I kept thinking, life is short. You better do something. And it was the one thing that I didn't want to regret because I've been wanting to live in Italy for like 30 years. So, um, so that's what I did. I decided to make the commitment to live here and did a bunch of research, looked at pictures, saw I wanted a population similar to Santa Monica, which was about 130,000. What I didn't know is that most of the population of Salerno lives out. They don't live in the city. So essentially, the city is very small. It's more like a village. So I see the same people a lot, which is nice and not great all the time, but it's nice, when you want to feel homey. So, and that was one of the other things on my list that I wanted to see some people on a regular basis. I wanted to feel like I was in a community, I wanted a village, but I wanted a big city. So I kind of got that too. What was the rest of the question?
Apartment hunting.
Oh, right. So, but at this point, during this process, the year before, I had already submitted all my documents for dual citizenship. And and we're getting closer and closer to my departure date. And I keep trying to get in touch with the consulate in LA, and they just were out to espresso coffee time. I mean, they were on a break. Every time I would try to call them, the office was closed, they wouldn't respond. They don't have a very good reputation. But I just said, well, I can't let this hold me back. I'm just going to go. And so I made my plans and I started looking for a B&B to live in. And because I couldn't commit to an apartment because I didn't know what my status was going to be. So I booked a B&B right on the water down in the port for 3 months because I could still come here as a tourist. And it worked out great until like 2 weeks in the middle of May, 2 weeks before the end of my 3 month gig here. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Well, what am I going to do? I still don't have my citizenship. I don't want to go back to LA because I didn't want to lose what Italian I was learning. So I panicked. and I went into full, you know, full mode of where am I going to go. So I started looking on maps. Where can I speak Italian? So I found Ticino, which is in Switzerland, and it's the Italian part of Switzerland. And I thought, yes, that's what I will do. I will go to Ticino. And so now I had made a contact. I'm checking out apartments there or B&Bs. And then I was dealing with all of the, well, can I come back in? How do I get my passport stamp? What should I do? Are they going to deport me? But I got for everyone, every person I talked to, I got a different answer. So at the 11th hour, I get an email one morning and it said, congratulations, you got your dual citizenship in an email. It wasn't even like like a picture of a nice diploma or something. I mean, an email. And it was like a couple of sentences. And I screamed. And the woman, the proprietor of this B&B, she thought something happened to me. And I'm like jumping around and saying, oh my God, I got it. So that saved me. So I ended up staying here and then I had to look for an apartment. That was the challenge because now I needed my residency. But when I first got here, I didn't register myself to get a Giordano, what's it called? Your permission to stay here. So Giordano di something or other. Oh God, I can't. Anyway, I didn't do that because I thought, well, I have a 3-month visa and I'll go home, I guess. I don't know. So because I didn't do this, it delayed the process of me trying to get my residency. And then with each document that I had to get, it became harder and harder and harder. And I couldn't find an apartment with anyone who would give me a lease for some reason. I don't know. Well, I know the reason. The reason is that there were so many B&Bs here and they were anticipating renting them out for a lot more money than what I was willing to pay or what they could legally charge for rent. So I had a real problem. And and at this point, I was dating someone, so I spent a lot of time at his place. And I found an apartment to share with 3 other women. That was very interesting, but it gave me somewhere to put my 7 suitcases of clothes and whatever. So I continued to look for a year. I was looking for an apartment with a residency, and they call that with a contract. And they were just inflating their rents, and it was very very difficult. And finally, I made friends with this British woman, and she and I were going to look for a place together. And I thought, okay, this is good. Two of us looking for a place. We want the same things. And then we discovered that we liked different things. So she ended up finding a place, and then I was still looking, and then, and she was going to rent it with 2 other people, and then a room became available, which is where I am now. And the most important thing is I got a lease. And then within a month, no, from the lease, I could get my residency. So I had to wait 45 days because they say that a policeman or woman will come to your apartment and ring the bell to make sure you actually live there. And sometimes they come in and sometimes they just stay outside by the intercom. Well, we never saw anyone come here. No one ever came. So, so I went to the city hall, the questura, and I found out that yes, we were in fact registered. So from receiving a residency, I was able to start the process of getting my passport, which was very exciting. And that was the least problem of all. The passport was the easiest of all of the documents that I've had to get. Because there's also the carta identica, which is like a social security card. Then there's the codice fiscale, and that's used for the healthcare system. There's the passport. What else is there? Residency is a big deal. So, so I got the passport within, it took about 3 weeks, which is nothing in Italian time. So that was pretty exciting. But I did have to go and harass them on a fairly regular basis. Like, did it come in yet? Did it come in yet? And because of COVID, everything has to be done online. Well, of course, I had an issue with making an appointment online. I couldn't do it. I don't know why, but I just couldn't get past this one point. And so I went and I made friends with this lovely woman there, and I begged. I mean, I'm always saying please, and I'm always saying thank you, and I always have this pathetic look on my face when I need to get something done because I don't have the words. I don't have the vocabulary that I need at all times, or I just get nervous and I whip out my Google Translate. So I got my passport, couldn't celebrate because, you know, COVID, and couldn't go have a big party or anything. Um, I didn't celebrate when I got my citizenship because I was in the middle of moving. So I've had all these great milestones living here and accomplishing so many things. And just for the first time, I had to pay the trash bill in this apartment because whoever's name is on the residency has to pay the trash. So I got a trash bill and I had to go to the post office to pay it. So that was kind of a little mini adventure. But every little thing is one more step closer to either gaining my sanity or losing it. It depends on how you look at it. But it's a challenge. Most of the time, I really like living here because it feels right. And then a lot of times, I just think, what am I doing here? Why is everything so difficult? But what everyone keeps saying to me is you just have to surrender and just let it be what it is.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the residency a little bit because, we lived in England for 2 years, and so we knew we weren't staying there permanently, obviously. But when we arrived, um, I think we had a week. We had to go to the local police station for that county, or the district office, whatever it was, whatever you call it, and go with our passport, our American passport. I had to show them that I had a work permit, and um, obviously we didn't have an English passport. But what they gave us in return, you had a little booklet with a passport photo in it, and what they told us was this is so you don't have to carry your passport around, right? You carry this booklet to prove that you're a legal resident in the United Kingdom. Uh, what I saw it as, that's what they told us, but they really wanted to make sure we were there legally and that they could check up on us anytime. And if you moved from one county to another county, you had to go to the police
Yes,
station in
we
that
have to do
county.
that
You have to do the
here.
same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. The Passeggiata di Soggiorno, I think that's what it is. I should know it. It's Soggiorno something. But if I leave Salerno, if for whatever reason and decide I want to go live in Milan, I have to register uh, with the Questura and go through the whole process all over again.
But even now, as an Italian citizen, would you have to do that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
With
yeah,
a
yeah.
passport and everything? You still
Yes,
have to do that.
yes, I
Oh my
still would
God.
have to do that. I know, and
Wow.
it's kind of a creepy feeling, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. And so the passport doesn't really give me any special privileges. I can vote, okay? I can buy a car, I can buy a home, I can open a bank account. And I think that's it. Those are my big privileges. But as far as moving freely,
So even natural Italian citizens have to do that?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly. Yeah. Look, I just my passport, the ultimate document.
As my grandmother would say, passport.
Passport. Yeah. Two, and oops, the other way. Two passports in one. So, but now I have to think of, well, which passport do I show when I leave the country? Because there's a way to do it. And which one do I use when I come back in? So I think when I leave, I'm supposed to use the Italian. And when I come back in, I'm supposed to use the American, just to make things easier, I think. But, I go to all these Facebook groups, Americans in Italy, Americans in Campania, American, whatever.
I always found traveling back and forth through France was interesting because they don't even look at it. I mean, the couple of times I've been to France through England, one time I was holding the passport and the guy just waved at me, and then we took the ferry across from England into France, and we got off the ferry, we got on the bus, we drove out of the port down the road, and the driver on the bus said, "Believe it or not, we just left French customs. They didn't look at a passport. They didn't check anything. We just drove right out."
I know. And sometimes when that's happened to me in the past, wherever I'm traveling, I will ask for a stamp.
Yeah, you want the stamp?
Yeah, I want the stamp. You know, I have a friend who lives in Nice, and she said she used to regularly come back and forth to shop for food in Italy because it was cheaper and clothes are cheaper here. And so she used to come back and forth, but she said now it's too much of a hassle, and especially with COVID. Even though she's right near the border, she's 20 minutes from the border. It's it could be problematic, so she's going to hold off on that. But
Well, before the European Union, my next door neighbor in England would drive through the tunnel into France to pick up wine and beer because it was so much cheaper. And he would fill up the whole car, the front seat, the back seat, every place you could stick a bottle of booze, he had it. And then once a month, he would make that trip over to France and bring back. And that was, you could only do it for your own consumption. And I said, Gerald, I said, you have the whole car full. What did I think? And he said, it's not. He says, as long as it's not a van or a truck, it's fine. He said, nobody cares.
wow, well, that's like Mexico. Coming from California, people will go down there and get cosmetics because they were a lot cheaper there than in LA. I don't know what else they used to buy. Probably liquor too. But it's just funny within Europe to cross a border and they're speaking another language. I can't wait to start doing that.
I know, especially now. So with that, so let me ask you. So how is it getting around? You don't have a car, right? So what's the public transportation like? I mean, is it hard, simple?
Mostly fine, mostly. I like the trains. I love taking trains. And they have a few different kinds of trains, which have continued to confuse me. And and then one time I went to, where was I? I was in Rome, and I was coming back, and my train was supposed to be at 9, and it just didn't come. And I was stuck in the train station for about 3 hours. And, it's about 2.5 hours on the fast train coming back to Salerno. And so they're dependable, but, if it doesn't come, well, it doesn't come.
Well, that's like New Jersey Transit.
Yeah, it, it's mostly reliable, but what can you do? And the buses are very comfortable. There's the city bus, which just goes around within the city. And then there are these other buses, which are really comfortable. And they go to Naples, and that takes 45 minutes to drive to Naples. And that's our next biggest city. So they're really comfortable. And there have been a few times where I would really like to have had a car. Um, and I could rent a car if I really wanted to, but I really don't want to drive on these streets. I mean, I'm afraid to walk on the streets sometimes because of the motorinis. I mean, I have missed like within an inch of getting like something shaved off on some part of my body. I mean, they come so close. And that's walking on the sidewalk. So, and I walk around going like this. I cross in the crosswalk. Stopping is an option. They don't always stop. Sometimes they see you in the crosswalk and they'll go faster. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with me that I expect people to like do what they're supposed to? I don't know. So, but overall, the transportation is good, I would say. And I just found out something interesting. There is a train that goes from here, from Salerno, and probably further north to Sicily. Now, Sicily is an island. So when this person told me, I said, "What do you mean? Sicily is an island. What do you mean? A train to Sicily? Is there a bridge?" They said, "No. They dismantle the cars on the train and put them on the ferry." How about that? That would be kind of fun to watch. And I did a lot of riding on the back of a motorcycle last year, and that was so much fun.
Well, I remember when we were in Sorrento, um, the family of four on a Vespa or a small motorbike, which I found quite amazing. Uh, and then we were driving through Amalfi, which had I known better, had I known now, I would never do that. We were driving the Amalfi Road.
Did you drive on the Amalfi Drive?
Yes, like a crazy man. And there were two guys on a motorcycle holding like sewer pipes or water pipes. One had his arm around her, and the other guy had, and they're driving this twisting road.
I know. I've been on that road I've driven a car many years ago. I drove myself with a friend on that scary road. I've been on it on a bus and I've learned to sit on the inside so I don't see what's going out over there. Okay. And I've been on it on a motorcycle, which is terrifying. And I think that's about it. There are no trains that go up that way because it's a little too far in the water. And but it's pretty scary. But they know, the buses, they're huge, and they know how to drive on that Amalfi Drive. They just know. They honk the horn, and they know the schedule, and it's all very well timed, and there's like this unspoken agreement that cars stop to let the buses go. Buses are bigger, they can do whatever they want. And it's fascinating to watch that because I've been on the buses and I see like all the way down I can see another bus coming and go, oh, this will be interesting to see who's going to go first. But they, there's a respectful alliance there, and they somehow manage, but it is scary.
We drove from Naples to Sorrento, and there's a it seemed like a long enough tunnel. I don't remember how long it was, but there was a big tunnel that I remember driving through, and somebody shot past us in a Lamborghini or Maserati or something like that, and he went past five cars at once, just zoom on the other side, and in the tunnel, yeah, and it was only two lanes, and he just shot past us. And when we came out the other end, they actually had him pulled over. And I said to Marion, I said, "But I said five cars is probably too much even for the Italian police." I said three he probably would have got away with, but five was probably a little bit too much.
I know. It's just observing, these little everyday things of just things that we would never do. Or I mean, living in Los Angeles, everything got kind of watered down. Life gets watered down in LA, and there are some very nice aspects of living there, but here everything is amplified. When I think that two people are going to kill each other, they're actually talking about lunch. What are you having? Where'd you shop for it? Oh, you like that butcher? Yeah, no, he screwed me the other day. I'm not going back there. And they just have these loud, argumentative conversations. And I was thinking of doing this fun project of walking on the street, all day and just recording the conversations as I'm passing, like catch one or two or three words, because invariably it has something to do with food. It's mangiare. I hear this all the time. Every tense of mangiare, past tense, future, whatever. There's cibo, pizza, ragu, provolone. It's just one thing after another. Or they're talking about their favorite pizza place, or where are you going to go? Oh, I don't like that one. And I was thinking, would it be fun to just, splice together all these comments about food? And it's so funny to the cultural difference. They're obsessed with food here. I am not. And I can't afford to be obsessed with food. I did my food experimentation like Timothy Leary with LSD last year, and it was disastrous. I mean, I just had to put a stop to that. And so I've tasted everything I need to taste, and that's it. I'm done with it. And and there are a lot of people actually who do not eat pizza. There's a lot of gluten free going on here. I had one gluten free pizza, it was hideous. Um, but there are many options. Uh, they're mostly Italian restaurants here. There are a couple of Indian, and they're pretty good. There's an Indian community here, and the food's good. There are a couple of Greek restaurants, which are really good. And it's just nice to go somewhere different for a change because it's not like a big metropolitan city that has a wide array of restaurants. It's very limited. Um, so that's kind of fun too.
I guess no McDonald's in Salerno, huh?
Well, I'm sorry to say there is one, and there's also a Burger King, and I refuse to patronize either of them. I refuse because mainly the Burger King is on the main Corso, that pedestrian Corso. It creates more trash. It's the biggest trash producer on the street with everything that they wrap up individually, and people are just throw it around. Doesn't matter. Trash cans are right there. Doesn't matter. So that upsets me, and I never see anyone in the McDonald's, although I'm sure people go there because it's right near the city hall. But whenever I pass, I never see really anyone in there. And it's interesting, they have this whole, well, I never go to McDonald's, so I don't really know how progressive they are, but this one has touch screens and you go and you touch what you want. Oh, okay, so that's old.
No, they have them here, but not every place. Like in Manhattan, they have them, but not the small ones.
Well, I was impressed that they have that. And I thought, well, that's, progress, I guess. But they had various coffee choices, which, you have to. Um, but I discovered my little macchiatos, and I'm so happy with them because it's just like a shot of coffee, and then it's like a little mini cappuccino. So if you want like a little blast of coffee in the afternoon before or after anything, I get a macchiato lungo, which means more coffee. So and they serve them in these little glass shot glasses. It's hysterical. I thought everything was going to be with the little cup, the little porcelain cup, where you can barely hold the handle. But no, now they have these glass shot glasses where you burn your fingers if the coffee's really hot. And I used one of those at home too. So that was kind of a cultural difference.
This has been a blast. We have to pray to the saint of travel that I actually get over there in May.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I thought this would be like winding down, and it looks like it's winding up again. But I got my fingers crossed that either they'll figure out some way of curing it, or some kind of vaccine that doesn't turn you green, and we'll be able to come in May.
Well, my guess is based on the fact that we are in another semi lockdown, it's not 100%. My guess is we're going to keep going into it and come out of it for economic reasons. And then it's just going to keep doing this until we get the vaccine because people are really struggling. I'm not one of them, but people are struggling. Their stores are closing, restaurants are closing. They have no money to pay mortgages. It's terrible. So, for economic reasons, they'll just keep opening and closing. Here, things are open still. Now, I can't say that for museums because Naples, I don't know, Naples seemed to have museums open when everybody else was closed. So I don't understand that. But mostly there's nothing to do here except go for a nice walk by the water, which I do. I try to when it's not raining. And that's it, and go food shopping.
That's pretty much what we do. The beach is 3 blocks away. We go to the beach and then we go buy food. So you may be 3,000 miles away, but we're doing the same thing here.
I know. I moved all this way just so I could walk on the beach and eat more food. Ay, ay, ay. Mamma mia.